Alright, go ahead.
Alright,
I'm going first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Catherine. I'm going into my senior year here, and I'm originally from Roseburg.
And I'm Carson. I'm going into my junior year, and I'm from Bothell, Washington.
My name is Hannah. I am going into my junior year, and I'm from Boulder, Colorado. I'm a music major here at Linfield.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I'm going into my junior year as well. I'm I choked. Can I do it again?
My name is Kelsey Bruce. I'm majoring in biochemistry and molecular biology with a minor in communication arts. What are the other two? Sorry. I'm from Hillsboro, Oregon, and I am a junior.
My name is Jeffrey Rath. I graduated in 2018 with a Bachelor's of Science in Physics with a minor in Mathematics. And I'm originally from Oaks, North Dakota, so Midwestern.
My name is Jordan. I will be going into my junior year here at Linfield. I'm from Medford, Oregon, so about 5 hours away.
My name is Maddie Shelton. I'm a junior here at Linfield College, and I'm studying elementary education, and I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Hi, my name is Audrey. I am going into my junior year and I'm a math major. I'm from Tacoma, Washington.
Hi, my name is Madeline. I'm also going to be a junior. I'm an English major and I'm from Hood River, Oregon.
My transition to college was really exciting. I had never lived anywhere outside of Tacoma in my life, so moving to Oregon, although it's a lot similar to Tacoma, it was like a big jump for me. I didn't know anybody at Linfield at all, and so coming into my pre-orientation program and living by myself for a week before my roommate came in was like kind of like exciting, and I was like, oh, I get to meet my roommate in a week, like I wonder what she's like. And then she came in and we clicked right away, and she transformed my experience. So
My transition to Linfield was pretty easy because I signed up to play on the volleyball team here, and I had been playing volleyball since I was in about 5th grade. So I came early to campus and I met all the volleyball people, so it was really nice to come early and talk to a bunch of people that had the same interest as me, sports-wise. So the transition was pretty easy.
So my brother actually went to Linfield back in like 2005, so I knew a little bit about the campus. But moving out here, there wasn't a lot of family or anything out here, so I kind of left my support system back in the Midwest. I have a little bit of family out here, but a lot of it was just people that I met at Linfield kind of helped me transition, either through friend groups or clubs or like the men's glee club and stuff like that.
College was not a super easy transition for me. I live about 45 minutes away from Linfield, and so it was very easy for me to go back home. And that made it very difficult for me to kind of break from high school life into college life and really becoming an adult. And I went home a lot my first year here, and so that made it a lot harder to make friends while I was on campus. But my sophomore year, I joined the residence life team and had a lot of great friends here and a lot of great experiences, and I think having those friends really made it a lot easier to transition to college.
I always knew I wanted to go to college. Education is like one of my passions. I want to be an educator, so college was just always part of that plan, and now coming here, it just feels like I'm in the right place.
Goodness, college in general. I think I've always just grown up knowing I was going to go to college, so I knew going into it. My parents didn't go to college. None of my siblings have gone to a university setting like this, so I knew that it was really important for me because I've seen their struggles without going to college, so it was something that I just kind of strove for. And I've always been good at the academic side. It's always been really comfortable for me, so it just kind of made sense with my life to go for it.
What made me decide to come to college in the first place, I think was just kind of to get away from home. As weird as that sounds, I think I just didn't want to stay living with my family and my parents, so I just wanted an experience where I could be on campus and be a part of something like a different sort of home life. I think it was one of the huge reasons I actually came to college.
I guess I decided I wanted to go to college after I had in high school I had an actual research experience where I got to do research in high school with a university, and that got me really excited about like science and research and exploration and stuff like that. And so I knew that to be able to do that, I had to be a little more educated before I could get into really exciting top-notch research.
I feel like it was always expected. I never really thought of not going to college, especially I'm in the accounting field, so like if you don't go to college, you're not going to get a job at all. So, at least in accounting, that is, and so it was just always on my radar.
I always knew that I wanted to go to college because I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher. So it kind of always made sense for me to go to college, and that was kind of always the path that I wanted.
I think my whole life I had planned on starting in elementary school and then middle school and then high school and then just going to college. It kind of seemed in my head like the normal thing to do. So that's just kind of what I did. I felt like I don't know, I was destined to go to college or something like that. But I was really excited to go to college for the same reasons that Madeline was. Like, it's exciting to like get away from family, get away from home, and learn about yourself and learn who you are and not who you are as an extension of your family. Like, you really discover who you are as a person on your own.
I knew that I wanted to pursue some kind of degree in higher education. It was just something that I always knew because I liked school. I really enjoyed learning. I like asking questions and finding out the answers. And then from there it was kind of deciding what did I want to study, and I've always had a passion for the sciences because it's very methodical and very meticulous and very detail oriented. So it was a good fit for me to continue pursuing questions and finding answers.
So I chose to go to Linfield because, well, one, my brother went here, my mom is from Oregon, so we wanted to look at schools out here. And when I toured Linfield, one of the tour guides gave me some really good advice, and it was like, could you imagine yourself walking on campus and going to classes and hanging out with people on campus? And that was very easy for me to see myself doing, so it was just a good fit for me.
Well, it was very random actually. I came to Oregon to tour different schools. I went to OSU and Reed College and PSU, and I went on a bunch of tours, and we had an extra day, so my mom was like, just look up a school in the area, and I googled like good education schools in the area, and Linfield popped up. So on a rainy January day, I came to Linfield for a tour, and I really loved it. I really loved the campus. I thought it was beautiful, and but it kind of was like out of my reach. I was like, okay, $50,000 a year, that's not gonna happen. So I enrolled at another school that was 40 minutes away from me in Colorado, University of Northern Colorado, and I was planning on going there. And then I received my financial aid letter from Linfield, and it would have been almost the same price to come to McMinnville, Oregon, and live here, go to school here, that it would be in Colorado. So I decided to just go for it, even though I did not know very much about Linfield at all.
I think the reason I decided on Linfield was actually I came here and to visit one of the times I had already applied, and I kind of just like bulk applied to a bunch of schools in Oregon in the area because that's where I knew I wanted to be. But I came to Linfield and I went on this one of those tours, you know, and they sent me in the card in the mail like a week later. I got a handwritten card with with my admissions lady who had like signed it with me and like very like remembered my mom and like had done all these really just intricate details that just like really made me feel at home and really welcomed into Linfield. And I think that's kind of why I ended up picking Linfield, honestly, because I felt like I could see myself having a home there. I feel like I could be safe. Family was really important to me, so going to a place where I felt safe and comforted and loved was also really important to me, and I was not disappointed. So.
Carson, you should take this one.
It was really easy, to be honest. Like, my mom is always trying to get me to come back, and I really enjoy being out on my own and being independent. Friends, I honestly haven't kept a ton of friends like from the high school days. I have my close group of people that a lot of them are now in college in Oregon, who I still hang out with and during summers and such. But other than that, it hasn't been difficult at all.
I mean, it was hard. I had some really close friends in high school, so it was hard to leave them. and I'm close to my family, so this is my first time living away from home. But I felt ready for the change and ready to kind of explore my own interests and have a fresh start in a new place. So I still keep in touch with my family and friends, but it wasn't devastating to come to college and make new friends and meet new people.
Yeah. Leaving my friends and family in Colorado was really scary at first, and it was definitely a leap. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't really know many people in Oregon at all, and so it was definitely scary.
I think for me, it was really hard to come to college and leave my family and friends at home. I didn't have many friends at home. Like I kind of, when I left high school, I didn't really care how many friends that I wanted to really hang on to in high school. But my family was a big thing. I'm the oldest of 5, and my youngest siblings are really young, Audrey too. So, you know, kind of leaving that parental role and big sister role was really hard, and it's still really hard. It continues to be very hard. But it's worth it because we know going into it we're better role models, I think. Going to college and bettering ourselves.
I think the first time that I felt like Linfield was home was a couple of months in to school. I returned back to my house, and I think I referred to Linfield as home in front of my mom, which is kind of a cliche thing that happens. And I was fine with it because I knew a lot of people in my family refer to Linfield as home, or they did when they went here. And so it was only a few months in, which is really nice.
I think Linfield felt like home within the first week for me. I had a great RA, I had a great roommate, and I really was enjoying all of my classes, so it felt very easy for me to be at home.
In order for me to feel like Linfield was my home, it took me coming into residence life. 'Cause I had friends, definitely, but it just didn't feel like that strong of a connection until I joined residence life, and then I knew that I had found my place, I had found my support system, I found my family.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to that because coming in, I had baseball and I had the baseball guys to connect with and be my family. But then when I ended up quitting, it was like I went through a whole nother transition period. And so joining Res Life, I've had the closest friends I've had in a long time. And I have I met a lot of great people here. And that was, again, just to reiterate, that was when I really felt like it was home.
Yeah. On my way, so Audrey and I had been texting all summer long. On my way to go to Linfield, to move to Linfield, I had packed up all my stuff. I was in the car. Audrey texted me and she goes, "The room's all clean and ready for you to move in." And at that moment, I knew that it was all gonna be okay and we were gonna have a good time. But she sent that text, and I think that's when I knew, oh, okay. I was like, I'm actually moving to college. It didn't hit me, until I was in the car on the way, and I get that text from Audrey, and I was like, whoa. And then I think that's when it felt like home. And then just meeting you, when we got there, Audrey was so welcoming, and she already had this little group of friends because she was in the first class. She was in the first class orientation group, so she had this little group of friends who she introduced me to. And that was really fun, and so I think it didn't take long, especially after Playfair. I think it was after Playfair, it was fine. Everybody was friends, and it took a while to get comfortable finding all my places, to be where I needed to go to my classes and all that jazz. But I think that we felt pretty at home together. Pretty certain. I don't know if that's true for you, but it was for me.
I never knew that story. I like that story.
Yeah.
I feel like I did have a lot of control over the transition to college and my past 2 years here at Linfield because I was on my own for choosing my classes and getting everything ready as far as books, making sure everything was in line for the payments for college, and so I feel like I had a lot of control.
Absolutely, I've had control in my college experience. I've gotten the chance to work with some amazing people, both in residence life and in my academic research. And it's great being at this small of an institution because I can be very active in my choices here. I can be involved with theater and choir, but still be doing research on campus or being involved with other clubs and other jobs. It's been really great.
I feel like I have a lot of control at Linfield because there are so many different things that I can do. Sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming because I want to do everything and there's just not enough time for that. But I definitely feel like whatever I put into Linfield is what I'm going to get out. And so far I've made so many connections and so many valuable relationships that I know are going to last me my entire life. So yeah, I do feel in control of my own education here.
I think in some ways I've had control over my college experience, considering like my major and the things that I choose to be involved in. But sometimes it's like life happens and it's really hard to like do the things that you want to do because of other priorities, whether it's like classes or financial stuff or homesickness. But I've noticed that I have been able to find a really good resources and people I can fall back on for support when I need it. So even though there are times where I don't feel like I have control, I have people that can help me find a way to control what's going on.
My roommate situation was really different from what I was used to back home. Growing up, I had a room all to myself, and then I moved into Pioneer, which is the oldest building on campus, and I lived in a quad on the 4th floor. So that was a very big difference for me. I didn't have a lot of privacy or space to myself, and it was really hard to adjust. I think the biggest things that helped were I joined the forensics team, the speech and debate team, and so that got me out of my room a lot more, and so I wasn't always around my roommates. And we also fell into a routine pretty well about everybody kind of had the room to themselves at different points in the day, and I think that's something that's really important, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, to make sure that you have some peaceful time to yourself where you can just kind of exist.
Oh goodness. I had a rough roommate my first year. Our values and our kind of just living styles clashed a lot, so it was interesting, it was difficult, but I'm glad I had a difficult roommate because it helps me learn conflict resolution skills, helped me be able to stand up for myself and say what I needed. So it was challenging, but worth the challenge. I'm glad I live alone now, but
Yeah, I had never lived with anyone until I came to college. It is sharing a room, that is. And I actually had an international student roommate. She was from Japan, so that was really cool. It was definitely difficult with a little bit of a language barrier to feel like we were best friends or anything like that. So that was not the situation of our relationship, but I found that we lived together really well, and I didn't necessarily want to be super close to my roommate anyways. So it did fit the kind of relationship that I was looking for in a roommate situation. And it was cool to learn from her. Like, we talked about like US schools versus Japanese schools, and it was kind of a different valuable experience in a way that I didn't expect, having somebody that was from a different country.
Yeah, I feel like I had a pretty stereotypical guy roommate situation freshman year. We didn't like hang out a lot or anything, but there were no conflicts because we just didn't bring anything up to each other. We just kind of lived with it. He was very quiet. I kind of stayed to my side, and it worked out.
I mean, I think housing here is, it's inherently different just in that I'm living with so many people. I live with 3 other people at home, and now I'm sharing a building with like 30 other girls, say, for this last year. So learning boundaries and having to maybe talk to people that I don't live with directly, but I maybe are being really noisy at night, and having to use different kinds of like conflict resolution skills / finding friends with people that maybe I don't live with but share an environment with has been a cool way to build a different kind of community than, say, living with a family that's just different.
The housing situation at Linfield was a little different for me because I grew up in a house where I had my own room and my siblings had their own room, so I never had to share a space with anyone besides the family room. And so it was a lot different coming to a situation where I was in a room with a complete stranger and we had to live together. But it turned out really well because we kept the communication up and it wasn't a bad experience.
I think the hardest part about the housing situation in college in general is like food. I'm used to growing up and like coming home and dinner being ready, or like somebody being like, what do you want for dinner? And then it just magically gets made and put on my plate and I eat it and clean my dishes and then do my thing. But now I have to, plan on when I'm gonna go to the dining hall, or if I'm cooking in the kitchen in the dorm building, then I have to like get all those cooking supplies. I have to go grocery shopping and buy things, and I think that's one of the challenges, but it's also one of the coolest things about the difference, or my living situation now, is that I can say when I want to wake up, when I want to go to bed, when I want to eat my food. It's different at home because if you have siblings, you have to have your schedule around them and parents and whoever else you live with.
I enjoy it more. Like being at home, my mom, and not really dad, but my mom would want to do things for me, and it makes me feel like actually more of an adult and more independent, and like I'm actually doing something with my life rather than someone else just sort of doing it for me. I don't know. I like it more.
It was a lot different being across a hallway from my friends and being able to walk 3 minutes and hang out with my friends. And I think that as a very extroverted person, it's hard for me in this living situation to get alone time because I'm always like, well, they're right there. I'm gonna go hang out with them. And I love being with people all the time. So getting used to being so close and having such easy access to all of my friends and getting to know so many different people has been very different from my growing up situation.
Madeline and I, at least I can say, got along really well our freshman year. We are best friends now.
Yeah.
She's my best friend.
Easily.
And I have wanted to build a lot on my skills of communication and like working with other people. And I know that was like a goal that both of us had mutual interest in when it came to our roommate relationship. So we definitely went through like a bunch of different communication strategies, and I think I grew a lot in my communication skills, and I think that was probably one of the most valuable parts of living with a roommate. And I was just like super thankful that I had someone who was also willing to communicate and work together, and I made a lot of personal improvement, but also I made a really good friend.
Overall, it was pretty easy to adapt to living with another person, even though I hadn't done it before, because we talked a lot about our personal interests and what we wanted to do as far as like a roommate contract. And when my RA freshman year brought up the roommate contract and we sat down and I talked to my roommate about that, it was actually a really powerful moment, which I don't know if that happens with a lot of other people, but we both talked about not necessarily everything that was on the roommate contract, but we talked about our families, and we actually found a very similar thing that happened in both of our families, and we actually just sat there and like cried together for like 10 minutes, which really brought us really close.
Yeah, I tend to be a bit of an introvert, so sharing a living space with somebody else all the time was a bit of an adjustment. I tend to want to retreat to my room and not talk to anybody, so that was hard at first, but I think trying to get to know her and becoming comfortable with each other, being really clear about, hey, this is what I expect from this relationship or this living environment. What do you feel like you want from this experience? Right from the get-go was really helpful in setting boundaries, and just helping us both know what to expect in the living situation.
So I know strategies that I used to kind of cope with some of it was if she had a habit of having just all of her stuff all over the room. And so it got to the point where eventually I just kind of shoved everything to her side, so whenever it would come over, I just like push it back and be like, so very clear, defined boundaries of what side of the room was whose, space for cleanliness reasons and, you know, being able to walk.
I have so much to say about this question. I don't even know where to start.
Wait, I have an idea where you can start.
Okay.
Do you want to tell the story about how we did the hokey pokey first day of class at 6 a.m.?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, can I tell the story? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell the story. Okay, so the first day of classes, we wake up and Audrey's so excited. I've never seen anyone to be so excited to be woken up at 6 a.m. and she's just so ready to go. And I was kind of, at this point I was a little hesitant. I was like, is this like, whoa, this is a lot of energy. And then she's like, so we like look at each other and we're both crazy nervous. We're like nervous and excited and we're so ready to go too. I think we were ready way early. And we looked at each other and we're like, okay, was it your idea? I think it was your idea.
I think it was my idea.
And she's like,
Take credit.
let's do the hokey pokey. And I was like, what? And she was like, let's do the hokey pokey. And so we're standing in our dorm room, Grover 208, and we're doing the hokey pokey. And we start our day off like that for a week. Like there's like a week of our first classes where we do the hokey pokey every morning. And like it's just this weird, like fun, it was such a good place to be. Like I think what Audrey was saying about like communicating and like I think we both were there to learn, and I think we came with a mindset of wanting to be challenged and like new and grow people when we came to college to learn and to grow. And so we like really made a room, a little community, a little family that really like was safe and good for us, I think, to be in and to learn. And we learned a lot from each other. I've never learned more from anybody else besides my family than I have from you, and I haven't felt as as in love and loved by someone as I have by you, other than family. So we formed, I think, an amazing bond. Like I've never clicked with anyone more, which that's sadly can't be said for everyone, but like I would consider you my sister probably. And I think from day one when we sent those messages, we get those messages, right? We were texting back and forth like 20 seconds back and forth like all day, like in all caps, like so excited to meet each other. And then like we just, I don't know, I think that we just made a really good place to be college students, and that was awesome. And Audrey like really taught me a lot about communicating. She sits me down on the first day. One of the most important lessons I ever learned from Audrey. She sits me down on like maybe somewhere between the first and the third day, and she goes, okay, if there's any problems, you have to tell me within 24 hours, or else it's kind of on you for not telling me. And I was like, and I had come from a family where we were just really passive aggressive, so I was like, what? And then it worked, and then we like had this whole thing, and we never really had any issues. We had a few little things, but she just told me to tell her right away, and that's how she needed to be communicated with, and I could follow that as well as I could. And that was one of the most important lessons I've learned in life in general, was just tell people when you have issues. Yeah, it helps a lot.
I think before I came to college, I identified myself much more in my relationships to other people and the groups that I was involved with. And now I identify a lot more as an individual based on my passions and what I can do and plan to do and will do. So before, it was a big part of me to be with my family and to be a part of the Scouts, and to be active and engaged with some emergency preparedness groups. And those were very important to me, and I defined myself by my volunteering and my activity with those groups. And now I'm much more invested in myself and much more identify myself by, here are the things that I'm interested in, here are the changes that I can bring about in the world, and here are the things that make me happy and the things that make me successful.
Before college, I didn't know who I was at all. The way I knew who I was by other people telling me, which I guess that's not really the worst thing, but they're like, oh, you're like this, like you come off as this, and so it's good to have those other perspectives from people. But I didn't know who I thought that I was or anything like that. So coming to college, I don't know what it was. Honestly, I think that Res Life really helped. I've changed so much this year, like speaking in front of a camera or like just speaking in front of a group or anything was not anything that I would have done before this. And so I feel like I've gained a lot of confidence and just had a new idea of who I am, of who I actually think I am, but not how other people around me view me.
I think a lot of what my identity was before I came to Linfield was that I was a Midwesterner and a North Dakotan, and a lot of what I was came from where I was from. But after Linfield, I got to a place where I was more active in what I felt defined me. Like I could be like a theater nerd or interested in physics and mathematics, and I could be a researcher and an activist and interested in the environment. And so I wasn't just identified about where I was from geographically, but more about what I believed in and what I was interested in.
Before coming to college, I identified myself as a very different person than I identify myself right now. I had different beliefs about the world, and I felt like I was a lot more sheltered and didn't really understand a lot of things about the world. After coming to Linfield, I have grown a lot, and I have completely changed the way that I identify myself. I have found different communities that I feel comfortable being myself around. I have been able to come out as bisexual, and that was something that I would never have been able to do in Colorado. And so I just feel like Linfield has greatly helped me find who I am meant to be.
My support system is by far Res Life. And some of the psychology professors, they definitely help on the academic side. But as far as personal conflicts, anything I'm struggling with, I 100% fall back on Res Life. Especially Kristen, one of our area directors, and she's my biggest support.
My freshman year roommate has been my support system from the day she messaged me on Facebook to this moment right now. So, yeah.
Same here. Yeah, I can depend on Audrey for anything. Like I said, she's like family. And I think I won't speak for you, but I think we both also depend on our families still.
Yes.
We still reach out to our
definitely
families a lot.
for sure.
I like that we're both like that too, because that was understandable too. We were like learning to be together, and then the school tries really hard to be a support system as well. They try really hard to be there for you.
Well, I do have a great support system at home. My mom is a wonderful supporter. She actually moved to Oregon. She followed me out to Oregon because she wanted to be closer, and so my sister, and my stepdad moved to Tigard, and having them close has been amazing. I also have just a great group of friends at Linfield. I am involved with Res Life, being an RA, so I come to the different area directors and feel very safe with all of them. So overall, and the music staff, all of the professors that I have in the music department, I feel like I can trust completely. So I have an awesome support system here.
Gosh, I owe almost everything to them. They've helped me find who I am, who I want to be, how to care about people, how to care about myself. So I wouldn't be the person I am without that support system.
All of my support systems have helped me through challenges and navigate many different things through college, because I know that I need an outside perspective a lot of the time. Sometimes I get wrapped up in my own head. I know that happens with a lot of other people, and having that outside perspective is really important.
When it comes to LCs, it can get really confusing about what classes you want to sign up for and what's going to fit in well with your schedule and your interests. And my support system, especially Residence Life, has been really helpful for navigating that, because residence life is made of people with all different degrees and interests. So I can talk to people that are in the same field that I'm in, and they can say, yeah, I took this and it was really helpful to me, but I wouldn't recommend taking this class at all for whatever reason. And then on the flip side of that, I can talk to people in a completely different department, and they might have a great recommendation for a creative studies or a global past or something like that. So I get a lot of different perspectives from my support group.
It was difficult to find, but they have helped me so much. A lot of academically, but also just gaining their confidence and, as you said, finding out who we are.
My support system gave me enough help that I felt that I wasn't drowning, but still encouraged me to like face these challenges by myself, and that really allowed me to grow as an individual and as a person. And I am really appreciative of all that they did for me, even though at times it didn't feel like they were doing as much, which is, I think, an underappreciated way of giving support.
Without the support system, I don't think I don't know if I would still be at Linfield. Just all of the people that I know that I can always rely on have really, really helped me. Coming to my area director, Mackenzie, just crying and like being able to do some painting with her, or going to my music professor for class and then ending up just talking about life for a bit, or yeah, having girls' nights and watching movies and whatnot. I think just all of those little things that have really helped me get through my time here.
My name is Audrey,
And my name is Madeline,
and we've embraced the change.
My name is Maddie, and I've embraced the change.
My name's Jeffrey, and I've embraced the change.
My name is Kelsey, and I've embraced the change.
My name's Jordan, and I've embraced the change.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Carson.
And we've embraced the change.
My name is Hannah, and I have embraced the change.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Carson.
And we
we've
embraced the
embraced
change.
Take 3.
Action.
Okay.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Carson. And,
And
we've embraced the change.
Let's do one more time.
So much pressure.